All right, everybody. Today I'm here with my coach, my mentor, Mr. Desi Arnaz. He is the one who taught me the note investing game, who continues to drop his gems and education, on me and the rest of his students within his program. Today I just wanted to talk to Desi about his journey through note investing, and what it means to be an investor and how we like to get other people involved. So hey Desi, how you doing today?
Hey, Brian, I am doing fantastic, and I do appreciate you having me on your program today.
Absolutely. Thank
This
you.
is my favorite topic.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you don't
Yeah.
have to twist my arm to talk about this.
Thanks for taking the time to talk to us.
Yeah.
So I just have a few questions I wanted to ask you. We'll make it pretty brief, but I wanted to, give the people some more insight into note investing as an industry and how people can get involved, whether they want to become investors themselves or whether they want to become lenders and partner with investors like us.
hmm
So my first question would just be could you give us a brief introduction to who you are and how you became a professional note investor?
Oh, yeah, sure. Sure. You're asking me to talk about myself?
Yeah.
That's my favorite topic. So I got no problem with that. Just kidding. Well, I'll just give you a little bit of background.
Hmm.
I've been in real estate since 1980. I started investing in 82, so that's a long time, right? And for the longest time, I was a landlord and a
Hmm.
property flipper, and I never liked being a landlord. Even though I liked the cash flow, I never liked being a landlord, right? If that makes sense. But it's all I really knew. I had tried the stock market a little bit during the 80s and again in the 90s, and both times I lost money in stocks. And I thought, why don't I just stick with real estate, where I know how to make money. And so that's what I did. But then in 2008, when the crash came, I got wiped out financially. My business went under, it was a bad time. And I was, at that time, I turned 60 during that time, 60 years old. And during the time that I was like down and out, right? And it's kind of scary to be 60 years old and broke. And I hope you never find yourself there, but that's where I was. And I was literally, Brian, praying for something because I didn't know what to do. Now, how do you start over at 60? You know what I mean? And God led me to notes, promissory notes, and I found it on the 4th of July, 2013. I was surfing the internet early in the morning while I waited for my wife to wake up because I live here in San Diego, Southern California, and we were going to go to the beach for the day and just hang out, right? And I found a guy on the internet that's talking about note investing. And as it turns out, it seemed intriguing to me because he was talking about getting cash flow from real estate without owning the real estate. And I thought, now that's a good concept because I had been a landlord prior to that. And I got cash flow from real estate, but I also got tenants from real estate. The tenants and the toilets and the taxes, as they say, the three T's. I had to deal with all of that. So at the end of the day, I started studying mortgage note investing, and it literally was my redemption. I was able to come back financially. Today, I'm what most would consider a wealthy man, and I live a really good life. and and I did it with hardly any money. I pretty much had no money to get started, and so that's kind of leading into what we're going to be talking about here today,
Hmm.
and that is that I learned how to do partnerships with people. I got the skill set under my belt for making big profits with mortgage notes, and then I started partnering with friends and other people that I knew to we just share in the profits. Same thing I used to do when I was flipping houses. And when I used to flip houses, I rarely used bank money. I usually used partnership money. So
Hmm.
I just brought that same model over into the note space, and that's what I'm teaching you, Brian. And today we have a $20 million mortgage note portfolio, and it's just growing day by day. I was talking to someone just before this meeting today that wants to um, join us and to partner with us on some of our upcoming deals.
Awesome. That's
Yeah.
awesome. So as someone who has, several decades in real estate, most people when they think about how they can earn passive income, they think real estate or they default to buying, stocks. What is it about investing in notes that makes it a better alternative than those two?
Well, the way that I like to sum it up is I like to say it this way. You don't go backwards, right? And what I mean by that is if you, for example, purchase stock, is it possible or even likely that that stock could go up and it could go down too, right?
Almost for sure, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we all understand that.
Hmm.
It's subject to the market, right? What I like about note investing is that it is not subject to market. Note investing is contractual. You literally have a document that you own, and someone signed that document saying, I agree to pay you money every month until my house is paid off, right? Because as a note investor, what you're doing is you're buying mortgages on people's houses. And I didn't even know I could do that, honestly, until 2013. I didn't even know I could own someone's mortgage. You could own your next door neighbor's mortgage. Isn't that weird? That's just weird to think about. And every month when they make their payments, they'll be paying to you. So I have people that pay me money all around from all around the country. But as I said, it's contractual. To me, investing in Wall Street type products like cryptocurrency or stocks and things like that, to me, that is more on the gambling spectrum than on the investing spectrum. Because the way I look at it is, look, when you buy a stock, you cross your fingers and you hope that the market moves in your favor, right? But you're on hope. You don't know if the market is going to move in your favor. You just hope that it does.
Hmm.
To me, that's no different than putting money on a gambling table, rolling the dice, and hoping that my number comes up. You know what I mean? It's the same thing to me. I don't want to use hope. I want to do what I know will make me money. And so contracts, legal and binding contracts signed by qualified individuals where they agree to make a payment to you every single month for a long period of time, normally 30 years. To me, it just makes more sense. I sleep better. I don't have to worry about going backwards. Warren Buffett said that the number one rule in investing is never lose money. Okay. And number two rule was don't forget rule number one. Okay. So pretty much that's it. And with notes, it's you have to work at it to lose money because people they have a contract where they agree to pay you. And if they don't pay you, you get to take their real estate from them. You literally get the house, you know? And generally speaking, the house is more valuable than the money that you loan them. So if you maybe you loan someone, or maybe they owe you, let's say $100,000 on a mortgage, but the property is worth $200,000.
Hmm.
So if they don't pay you the 100, you get the house, and now you have 200. And that's the kind of thing that makes you pretty wealthy pretty fast.
Sounds good to me.
Yeah, it is good, brother. Let me tell you.
Sounds good to me. You mentioned partnership, and obviously, a lot of what we do is we partner with people who are looking to earn passive income, but may not have the ability or the availability, say, to pursue deals for themselves. What would you say are the benefits of partnering with a note investor?
Okay. Yeah. As an investor that's out there looking for a place to put some money to work, and I'm
Hmm.
not suggesting that they put all of their money into this, but I think that they should seriously consider putting some of their money into this because this is money that will earn based upon a contract, as I just mentioned, right? They're going to get paid. And if they don't get paid, they're going to have a remedy. Unlike stocks, if your stock doesn't go up, you have no remedy. If your stock goes down, you have no remedy. You can't go in and say, oh, I want my money back. And so here, they know that they're going to get paid every month, month after month after month. And it's painless and it's passive and it's protected. And their interest is recorded in the county, just like Bank of America, right? I mean, they literally become the bank to the homeowner. And
Hmm.
even though they're lending their money to a guy like you, right? Or me, right? They're lending money to you so that you can go out and buy the notes. They get an ownership interest in that investment as well. And their name gets recorded in the county just like yours does, or just like Bank of America would if they were the lender. So
Hmm.
it's a very, very secure place to put money to work. And I found that my investors have said to me, They love it because they sleep better. They know their retirement accounts are growing. They know their savings accounts are growing. They don't have to worry about going backwards. It's called peace of mind, right? What's the value of peace of mind?
Yeah, it's priceless.
Plus, they get good returns. It's not like they make bad returns. They make above average returns.
Yeah, that's actually what I was going to ask you next is what kind of, we've all experienced a pretty big boom in inflation the past couple of years. And so one of the
Mhm,
most important things we can do is make sure that we're earning money on our money.
mhm.
And as we know, if your money's sitting in a savings account, you're earning next to nothing on it in interest. If you put it in a high yield account or a money market, you may be earning 3 to 5%. What kind of returns do your lenders typically receive when they partner with you?
Well, those are negotiated returns.
Mhm.
And it's just literally between me and my partners,
Mhm.
whatever it is that we can negotiate. I like to get my partners as much as possible, but every note is different. When I buy a mortgage note, I have to look at how much of a return is that note yielding. That's what we call it, the yield, right? And the way we purchase these notes, Brian, is we purchase these notes at a discount. And without getting too technical, here's how it looks. Okay. Let's go back to the example of a $100,000 balance. Someone owes $100,000 on their mortgage. That's what they owe to the bank. And I go to the bank and I say, I'd like to buy that mortgage from you, Mr. Banker. When the bank sells me the mortgage, they're going to say, look, Desi, these guys owe us 100,000, but we will sell you the mortgage for 90,000. They always sell them at a discount. And the beauty of that is that I would invest $90,000, but I will be earning interest on $100,000.
Mhm.
You see that? So that in effect boosts my yield that
Mhm.
I'm earning on the money that I invest. So what I do is I look at that number and typically I try to give my partners somewhere around 70% of that number. We work it out. Maybe they're getting 8%. Maybe they're getting 9%. Like if that number is 10%, they'd probably get 7% on
Mhm.
their money, right? And if they don't like the deal, then they can always pass on it too, right? Because we have plenty of these. There's no shortage of these types of investment opportunities. But most of the time, my investors get anywhere from 7 to 10%, completely passive, completely secure, and all the other benefits that I've already outlined. And those are good returns. If banks are paying what they call high yield, they're paying 4% high yield.
Mhm.
We're doubling that, you
Mhm.
know, we're doubling that. So it's as I said, it's above average returns and it's far more secure than putting it into the stock market.
Yeah.
And by the way, if you Google average stock market returns for the past 70 years, it's going to be like 9%. So it's not like the stock market is way out there and you're investing at 8 or 9 and your money should be in the market because over time the stock market average is 9, but that's really kind of misleading.
Yeah.
It's very misleading. The 9% average is not the same as 9%.
Annual. Yeah.
Yeah, annual. It's just not the same, especially the way we do it. We let some people let their money compound with us too. You can do that.
Mhm. Yeah. Okay. So say somebody was interested in lending on a note, but they didn't have, say, liquid cash in a bank account. Say they had 100K or so in a retirement account. Could they still invest with that money, even though they can't withdraw those funds?
That was a question that I asked when I first found out about notes, and once I dug into it and started talking to the right people, I realized that yeah, they can. The IRS will allow uh, your retirement funds to be invested in this asset class. There are some disallowed asset classes, but this is not a disallowed asset class. But what they do need to do is they need to uh, move their funds to a custodian that will allow this asset class.
Hmm.
And what I mean by that is a lot of people have their retirement funds, Brian, with these big companies like Fidelity, Charles Schwab, these big giant firms.
Hmm.
These firms specialize in selling stock. That's how they get paid. You buy stock, they get their commissions. you go to them and you say, I want to invest my money in a mortgage note. First thing in their mind is, oh, that sounds good, but how do I get paid? You know what I mean? They can't make money on it. And so they'll tell you, you don't want to do that, or they'll tell you, you can't do that, but they're wrong. You do want to do it, and you can do it. And so there are companies that have um, that are they call them custodians. There are custodians that the IRS allows you to roll your funds over to. You don't withdraw your funds from Fidelity or Charles Schwab. You literally roll them over. If you withdraw them, that's a different story. Then you're going to get penalized, right? And pay taxes. But you roll them over into the new custodian's care. And the new custodian just basically says, where do you want to invest your money? Because the new custodian is something called a self-directed custodian. So you get to direct where you want your money. They don't just go pick a stock for you. You can put your money in stocks if you want to, but you can also put your money into real estate. You can put it into notes. You can put it into cryptocurrency. It's up to you. You decide. So that's the first step that they need to do. Roll their funds over, and then they can deploy that capital any way they choose. And I think one way should be investing in this asset class, especially with a guy like you who's been so well trained and so knowledgeable in the space.
Yeah. Yeah, it sounds like a great opportunity to kind of maximize your retirement,
It is. It is.
and safely too, because God forbid the market crashes again and you lose half of your account. You don't have another 25, 30 years to get it back to where it was.
Right.
You buy a mortgage note and you, like you said earlier, you're buying a contract, so you're guaranteed that payment no matter what's going on in the economy.
Yeah. You guaranteed the payment or the property.
Or
You're
the
going to get
property.
something.
Or the property, yeah. So
Yeah.
that makes me feel a lot more secure personally.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
okay.
I had a client that came to me. She's a partner. She's actually a friend. She was a friend first, right? Um, and she came to me at one point when I first got into notes. I brought it to her attention, and I said, "Hey, would you like to partner with me on something?" And she looked at it and she goes, "I've never heard of this. I'm not really that familiar with it." She had $100,000 in her retirement account. She's a nurse, and she had 100 grand in her retirement account, and she kind of said, "Nah, not really." So, that's okay. I mean, we're not. I'm just telling her about it. I wasn't like begging her to do anything. And then about 6 or 8 months later, she came back to me because the market had moved, and she was down to 70,000 in her retirement account.
Mm.
So she had lost $30,000 in her retirement account in that period of time. And she decided, okay, what was that you were telling me about, Desi? And so she came back to me, and we started investing together. We still invest together today, and that was in 2014. We
Mm.
still invest together today, and she has several $100,000 in that same account now, and she hasn't put another dime of her own money into that account.
Several $100,000 in a matter of 10 years
Yeah,
after losing 30% of her account.
yeah. After losing 30% of her initial investment. Yeah,
Wow. That's
and now finally, after all this time, finally her husband is saying he called me up about maybe a month ago.
yeah.
So Desi, tell me how your program works. It's
That's
like, dude,
great.
you should have been talking to me 10 years ago like your wife.
Great.
You
Yeah.
know,
But you would
but it's
say
never
your
too late.
your lenders typically come back for more than once they understand how this works, once they do a deal and they come back for more.
Sure. Yeah, exactly. And I tell people, look, I'm not suggesting that you start by rolling all your funds over. Start
Hmm.
small, right? Start small. You can get started in note investing at a pretty reasonable number, right? I mean, you can't get started with like $1,000 or nothing like that, but you can get started with a reasonable number that most people can afford if they have a little bit of savings.
Hmm.
And you can see that money grows, you know? Um, and once you see that, then you can move more money over. I had that happen with another person, the lady that walks my dog. I didn't think she had any money. She walks, I pay her to walk my dog, right? And so you would assume, oh man, and she's a senior citizen, so I kind of assumed that she didn't have any money. But she was asking my wife one day, well, what do you guys do? Because I'm a senior citizen too. And she's wondering, why is he still working and what do you guys do? And so my wife explained to her what we do. and how we invest in mortgage notes, and we partner with people to do that. And so she said, I have a little money in a retirement account. And at that time, I think she had about 120 or so in a retirement account. Okay. Not too bad. She's already retired. She had been a police officer. And when she came to me, though, she didn't put any money with me initially. She left it. She asked me to speak to her Fidelity. She was with Fidelity. She asked me to speak to her Fidelity rep. And so he bought us lunch here in San Diego, down in Mission Valley. He bought us lunch and he talked her out of investing with me at all. He listened to what I had to say and he said, "Nah, you don't need to invest with him." He had her money in stocks, just like they all do.
Hmm.
You don't need to invest with him. And so she said, "Well, Desi, I'm going to leave my money where it is." And I said, "That's fine. You can leave it right where it is. No, no big deal to me. I just wanted to tell you about it. And I'm glad you looked at it. Thanks for looking at it." And about a month later, he had lost $1,000. Her stock went down $1,000. Only 1,000, not that much, but it did go backwards. And she got really upset with him. And she said, "You know what? I'm going to give Desi $30,000." And so she gave me $30,000. And we invested in a mortgage note that was not performing. In other words, we bought something called a non-performing mortgage note where people were not making their payments. And I know that's a strange thing to think about. Why would you buy a mortgage where the people are not making their payments? Well, there's a couple of reasons. One is that if you buy a mortgage where people are not making their payments, you're going to get it at a deeper discount than you would if they are making their payments. So that $100,000 mortgage, I might get it for 60,000 instead of 90,000, like I mentioned earlier, right?
Hmm.
So we bought a non-performing note for $30,000. And then I was able to flip that non-performing note for $34,000, just under $34,000, to another investor. And I did that in about 45 days because I just want to show her how this stuff works, right? So I did that in about 45 days. And then we just split that profit. So she made almost $2,000 in 45 days with me, made up for the 1,000 she had lost with this knucklehead. And she literally went to him and took all of her money out and brought it all over to me. And we've been investing together ever since. And that's probably been about 4 years now. And she loves it. And she tells all her friends, "This is where you need to go." I just saw her yesterday, as a matter of fact, because she's our dog walker, as I said, but she's in the hospital right now. She's having heart something going on. So we went and spent the evening with her last night. You kind of become friends with these people that are investing with you.
Hmm.
These are not short-term relationships. These are long-term relationships. We're all making money together. President John Kennedy once said, "A rising tide lifts all boats." And that's, kind of the way I see this. It's like we're all making money together. It's a win-win for all of us. So anyway, I know it's kind of a long-winded
Yeah,
answer,
no,
but
I mean, thank you for the example. It's important to see how, this can affect people,
yeah.
in a positive way. And, if you can benefit from your relationships, I mean, all the better.
May I say something else about this too?
Absolutely. Go for it.
The same person, my dog walker. I won't use her name, obviously, for privacy reasons, but um, when I first met her, when she was walking our dogs, she was using an old flip phone. She had a tiny little TV screen, and this is just two things. And she hadn't taken a vacation in a long time. Those are three things that I remember her sharing with us, right? After she got started investing with us and she started seeing that her money was going to come in every single month after month, one of the first things she did is she upgraded her phone to a smartphone. And I said, "Good for you, good for you." She at that time she was almost 70. Oh, she was 70. I think she was 71, 71, 72 at the time. So she upgraded her phone to a smartphone. Then she went and bought the biggest big screen TV that I've ever seen. She had it mounted. And she took a vacation. She went to Ireland to visit some friends. And I said, "You know what? That's what note investing does. It gives you so much security and confidence that your money's coming in that you don't worry anymore." She had that 120 or whatever it was that she had, but she's like, "Well, this has got to last me the rest of my life,"
Hmm.
right? Now she feels like that doesn't have to last me the rest of my life. Every month I'm making money. every month. I mean, my money is making,
Passive, yeah, passive money.
yeah, every month her money's making money. And so she's able to live her life without even touching her original principal. She can just live off the interest and do things like that, you know?
That's fantastic.
Yeah, it is. It really is. I literally see the difference that it's making in people's lives. Once they get out of the markets and get out of that volatile space where you worry, you lose sleep, and for what?
Yeah.
For what? Right?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's awesome. Well, Desi, we're coming up on time. Thank you for taking the time to speak with us. I'm obviously grateful to be learning this industry from you and be able to, have the ability to change my life and the lives of others. So thank you for that. Thank you for everything that you share with us. I
My
have been learning
pleasure.
the past 8 months or so through your program, Node Investor University. If you have anything you want to say about NIU, feel free. The floor is yours.
Well, thank you. Yeah, well, we teach people how to do this. For people that want to be active investors, they can head over to noteinvestoruniversity.com or investbrilliantly.com, either one. Takes you to the same website. But investbrilliantly.com, I'm sorry, Note Investor University or Invest Brilliantly, there they can learn about our program. We have coaching programs and we have self-teaching programs, where you don't get any coaching. It's up to you. But you can learn this business if you want to be active. And for those that want to be passive, what they'll want to do is they'll want to consider becoming what we call a rhino lender, right? A rhino lender is a person that lends to investors that invest in mortgage notes. That's what rhino lenders do, right? Private lenders lend to investors that invest in all kinds of other stuff. Rhino lenders lend to investors that invest in mortgage notes. And it's a simple process. And we do have a little bit of training available on that as well. There's no cost for that training. We want people to understand what they're investing in. And then they get to partner with guys like you.
Mhm.
And they get to make profits and let you do the work. Right? You do the work and they get paid.
Hey, I'm
And
happy to do that work.
yeah, and the way we set it up is their pay goes out automatically through from the we use third party licensed loan servicers to collect the mortgage payments every month
Mhm.
from the homeowners, and then that loan servicer just sends them their money automatically, ACH, to their bank account. So you don't have to worry about it. They don't have to worry about it. It just comes in month after month after month after month after month. It's nice to just see those checks coming in, even when you're on vacation, even when you're sleeping, even when you're not working. It's a wonderful thing. And I have to tell you too, Brian, I'm really so very proud that I have an opportunity to coach you. I love, first of all, working with young people, but I also love working with people that have such a great heart and so much integrity as I've seen in you over the last 8 months. I'm really impressed. And I'm sure that anybody that decides to work with you will be very pleased with their decision. Very pleased
Yes,
with their
sir. I
decision.
appreciate that. I appreciate it.
I know
Look
I don't
forward.
give out flattery. You can ask anybody that knows me. I'm not a flattering guy.
I know
Okay. I tell it
that.
like it is pretty
I
much.
know that. Yeah. I know that firsthand. But yeah, I appreciate that, man. I look forward to continuing our journey together. And, maybe in a few months or so, we'll do another interview when I got some more notes on my belt, under my belt, and you continue
Beautiful.
to grow your fund and your
Beautiful.
portfolio, and we can do this again.
Beautiful. It's my
All right.
pleasure, Brian. Thank you for having me, guy.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
All right. God bless you.